up guys, Joey here of Yugatech, and once again the Redmi Note 7 is making noise as it has found another mid-range contender in the Samsung Galaxy M20. It seems like Samsung is trying to be competitive in the lower mid-range segment once again, but let's see what it's got against the Redmi Note 7. Let's take a quick look at their specs first, so feel free to pause the video if you really want to read it all. Starting with design, we get different looks from each phone. The Redmi Note 7 has a glass back while the Samsung Galaxy M20 has a smooth plastic one, which honestly feels tougher and more durable. Both have a fingerprint scanner at the back and small notches in front. The notches are different in shape, but I like that the M20's notch gives a small flare effect that lights up whenever it registers a face for unlocking the phone. Looks pretty cool. It's also good to know that both phones still keep headphone jacks. On top for the Redmi Note 7, while you can find it at the bottom for the Galaxy M20. And if it bothers you, the Redmi Note 7 has a slight camera bump that makes it rock a little bit on flat surfaces while the M20 doesn't. An advantage that the M20 has is that you get a designated microSD card slot that supports cards up to 512GB, while the Redmi Note 7 sticks with a hybrid setup with support for cards only up to 256GB. So we all have our own preferences in terms of design with the look and the feel, but if you're gonna ask me, I like how much more premium and gorgeous the Redmi Note 7 looks. The glass back with its radiant colors looks stunning, and I like how its fingerprint scanner is easier to reach. Heading to display, both the Galaxy M20 and Redmi Note 7 sport a 6.3-inch display with a 2340 by 1080 resolution. They're both kinda similar in terms of quality, even with viewing angles, but they differ in display type. The Redmi Note 7 uses an IPS LCD while the M20 has a regular TFT display. Surprisingly, the Redmi Note 7 doesn't have much of an advantage in terms of quality because the M20's TFT display still manages to be vibrant with colors that pop. But of course, let's not forget that the Redmi Note 7 has Gorilla Glass 5 for protection, which is definitely a plus. The M20 on the other hand has no mention of any protection at all. So for display, it depends on what you prefer more. Both have good quality, but you do get Gorilla Glass 5 protection from the Redmi Note 7. Now for battery. The Redmi Note 7 has a 4000 mAh capacity while the Galaxy M20's is bigger at 5000 mAh. Both support fast charging with their Type-C ports, which is really good to see now in mid-range devices. In our video loop test, which involves playing a 1080p movie at 50% brightness, 50% volume, with earphones, airplane mode on, we got 14 hours and 51 minutes for the Redmi Note 7, while the M20 got 16 hours and 40 minutes. And in day-to-day usage, the M20 also lasted a little bit longer, more than a day. So it's clear who's the winner here. Moving on to software, the Redmi Note 7 runs MIUI 10 based on Android 9 Pie out of the box, while the Galaxy M20 gets Android Oreo with a refreshed Samsung Experience 9.5 instead of Android Pie with One UI, which is a bummer for now. Scrolling through, the Redmi Note 7 looks more minimal with its medium-sized icons and apps, while the Galaxy M20 looks more organized and dynamic. But for this one, I'm gonna go for the Note 7 because although you get Samsung Experience with the M20, you do get the extra features from Android Pie with the Note 7. Plus, it looks more minimal, so less is more. But like design, software is a big thing that boils down to personal preference, so take my word with a grain of salt. Powering the Samsung Galaxy M20 is an Exynos 7904 paired with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. The Redmi Note 7 unit we have has a Snapdragon 660 together with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. Obviously, with these specs, the Redmi Note 7 is the better performer. The Exynos 7904's performance is closer to that of the Snapdragon 636, which is, lower tier than the 660, and the difference in RAM capacity makes a significant difference. So for performance, general tasks, gaming, it's gonna be the Redmi Note 7. Now let's talk about the cameras. One of the main features of the Redmi Note 7 is its camera capabilities, and that 48-megapixel f1.8 rear lens sounds just really juicy. But besides that, it also has a 5-megapixel secondary shooter at the back, and for selfies, it has a 13-megapixel front camera. The M20 on the other hand has dual 13-megapixel f1.9 plus 5-megapixel f2.2 wide-angle lenses at the back and an 8-megapixel f2.0 camera up front. Now let's take a look at the photos. In these selfies of Ira in portrait mode, the M20 shows a much wider shot with more vibrant colors. Although taking a closer look at her lips, you'll see that Samsung's photo processing is a little bit more intense. However, considering that this is portrait mode, let's consider that the Redmi did a better job in isolating the subject from the background. Next, okay, it seems like I lost my tan in the Redmi Note 7's shot. These selfies under daylight show how the front cameras adapt to different environments, and for this, I think the M20 shot is better. You get the right amount of light, you get more accurate colors, and you even get a wider shot. Moving on to these rear photos, it looks like the Redmi Note 7 gave more accurate colors while the Galaxy M20 has more contrast in it. Okay, moving on to these shots, it's pretty obvious which one stands out. These were taken at the same time, yet the Redmi Note 7 produces a more bluish shot. The M20 shot looks a bit dull, but it did capture a better depiction of the real-life colors. Heading to these night shots, however, both of them struggled. That's an understatement. However, when you zoom in a little bit more to the buildings at the back, the Redmi Note 7 gives more details while the M20s are more washed out. So I'm kinda torn for the camera since they both have their own strengths and weaknesses, but even if the Redmi Note 7 showed more details, I'm gonna go for the M20. The colors look better, more natural, and since you get that wide lens, you have more options. Alright, there's only one more big detail left to consider, which is price. Now taking a look at the prices, these two smartphones are at the same price point. And in this comparison, the Redmi Note 7 won most of the categories if you haven't noticed, but that doesn't mean the Samsung Galaxy M20 should be out of your options. It actually has good cameras, a bigger battery, and Samsung's software experience isn't bad. If you're into that, then I can recommend the M20. But if you're still in for the Redmi Note 7 because of the better design, simple UI, detailed photos, and better gaming performance, then go for it. So what do you think, guys? Which one will you most likely buy, or which one do you really prefer? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please do give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Joey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.